Hey everybody! About a year ago, January of 2020, we ran into our old friends Jim and Denice Moody in Florida, and they decided they would give us an interview, and it has been lost, but I finally found it, and I've broken it up into three parts. This is part one of three. I hope you really enjoy this. Okay, we're recording now.
So I'm Jim Moody.
And I'm Denice Moody.
And we're known as the Moodies. Yay.
And we've been RVing since 2012. Full time we started 2012.
And we started this venture as an opportunity to become debt-free and then to retire, go take care of my mom in Florida, and then hit the road full-time, which we did.
So we did. We bounced between two parks in San Diego, Pio Pico and Oxenita. Then we would, he would drive to work every night. I would sew while he slept during the day in the clubhouse. So I made lots of quilts while we were, and sewing stuff for my sisters.
Your work?
I was known as the UPS man. I drove for UPS 30 long years, and I wasn't going to talk about it today.
Okay.
But 15 of those years were driving tractor trailer. 5 of those 15 years were going cross country, which gave me a 4-day weekend every weekend, and we got to do our favorite hobby, which is geocaching, a lot more. Thus, we have found 95,000 plus geocaches and are known as K-Wavers and currently number 14 in the world. So are we obsessed? Yes. Do we love RVing? Yes. What does RVing do? It takes us to places of interest and we go where the geocaches are.
So, in 2013, February was his last day of UPS. There's a picture, I'll give it to you. And we hit the road, headed for Florida. We went to Florida to do the final days with his mama, the months, and handle the estate. So we did that for 2 months. So we had the Mini Winnie. That was our second trailer. Prior to that, we had a little 13-foot Aristocrat, 1967. We called the Coca-Cola trailer. Then we sold the Mini Winnie that we lived in for a year. Well, we bought the Lazy Days and then we sold the Mini Winnie. At one time, we had 2 RVs parked in his mama's house front, and we were living in the house, so we were transferring both back and forth. Then in June, we went to Tennessee. We had weddings and heart transplant. So we stayed in Tennessee until December.
Our cousin had a heart transplant.
So we stayed.
And it's good. 5 years.
Yay.
No problems.
Awesome.
And that was in the fall of 2013. Then we wintered back down in Florida, 2014. Then we went back west, went up to Washington, was up in Washington, and then bought the house in Jackson, Tennessee. And our reasoning for buying the house was we'd seen a lot of people, and they have health issues and age.
So, in our travels, we made it from San Diego all the way up to Washington State, using the Thousand Trail campgrounds mostly. And we were in Blaine, Washington. Is it Blaine?
Blaine, yeah.
Yeah.
Near the border.
Which is a wonderful park. And we were going to go into Canada. However, we're lost.
No, our cousin called us
Yes.
and said that they want we had talked to this couple before, and we said, when you're ready to sell, let us know. It sounds like what we want. Flat. We had certain specifications.
Penny Lane.
Penny Lane, on Penny Lane. So we just left the RV in one car in Washington, and we drove all the way to Jackson, Tennessee, and quilt shop the whole way, because there was a quilt shop, so we went to over 50 quilt shops.
She quilts.
I quilt. So we got to visit the quilt shops.
Wow.
And we bought the house, we rented it back to the couple, and said when, they're ready to, when they find a house to buy, let us know. Went back to Washington. But the reason we did the purchase of the house, that's what you want to go into.
We had seen a lot of older couples, like in their high 80s, early 90s, huge rig, and then setting up. We were freaking out, thinking that the people were going to fall out of the steps while they're leaving, moving furniture around, just even driving the thing was terrifying. So anyway, we said we don't want to be that age and be in our rig. We need to have a plan B. And the plan B was to buy a home and use that as our base. We could have stayed on the road full time longer, but I wanted Denice to have a home to go home to if something happened to me. She couldn't drive the rig. And why do you want to know that? I'll tell you why. Because she's blind in her left eye. And her depth perception is not good at all.
And we're talking Class C.
You got Class C even. It just would not work. So we had to make a plan B.
Jeep, so we definitely need a plan B.
So we thought...
And continue to stay debt-free.
We bought the house, went back on the road. We're thinking we're going to be in the house for... No, the people that rented the house from us, the house they once owned, they rented the house from us, and we thought it would take 4 to 6 months before they found another house. Well, we drove all the way back to Washington, and about a month later, hey, we found a house. So back to Jackson.
Back and forth.
And we started getting the house ready. We lived with our aunt for a month that lives 3 minutes away from our house in Jackson. And things were settled down. The people that lived in our condo in San Diego were going to stay another year. And then I got a call that they had to take care of their grandmother. Okay. Which was okay. So we drove back to San Diego, sold the condo, drove back to Jackson, and settled down a little bit. A little bit.
A little bit. We went, we traveled from there until my aunt got sick. So then she had open heart surgery, and that kind of kept us close to home for a year. And then her 80th birthday, she was doing pretty good. So we did take a trip to Florida and then up to New England. And then in 2018, she kept talking about all these quilts she wanted to make for all the grandchildren and the great-grands. So her and I did that project together. And it was a total of, I think, 13 quilts we made.
And all this time you were geocaching.
No.
Oh.
All this time, I was playing pickleball.
Oh.
I picked it up in Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
What year?
In the year
2017.
2017. So, while she's quilting, I'm playing pickleball. Or I go geocaching once in a while, but not as much as we had been geocaching. And...
Only because there were none to find around the
That's
house.
true.
We had found them all previously. So we'd have to drive quite a bit to find a geocache.
So things have settled down. We decided to make another run to Florida. We'd gone to Texas prior to that.
Where we met you all.
I remember that.
Yep.
Yep.
You were camped right next to us, and you were always gone geocaching.
That's right.
With your friends.
That's right. And there was a big geocaching Woodstock event. And then that was over. We went back to Jackson. And is that when we went to New England?
No, we went to New England in 2017.
Got it.
That's when you started playing pickleball.
Mm-hmm.
So you played pickleball 2018. All the whole year while I was quilting.
It was a long year.
It was a very long year.
And then we were in the snow
Yeah, we got
in
snowed
the winters.
Oh, wow.
San
Rare-
Diego does not
rare
have snow
for-
where we lived in San Diego.
Yeah.
So this year, we started out at the end of September. We went to a geocaching event in Rome, Georgia, and then headed down here, and we've been bouncing between the Thousand Trail campgrounds. It's 3 of them that we go to, and we're at Peace River right now.
We hope you enjoyed watching part 1 of this 3-part series. Be sure to like and subscribe. I'll put the links below for part 2 and part 3 so you can watch the others. Thank you.